I do want to get into a topic you spoke about, the whole concept of this selling your soul topic. There's this one Kanye lyric that has always stuck with me, right? He says, I sold my soul to the devil. It was a crappy deal. At least it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal. And when I heard that in high school, it was a bar. When I heard it in high school, I was just thinking like, damn, that's a bar right there. But then obviously we see everything that Kanye is going through, and then you hear this concept of, selling your soul. Like how much validity from your understanding is there to that concept of this whole Illuminati, you know what I mean? They about to flag us immediately. So in your expertise or opinion or knowledge or whatever, how much validity is that?
It's very valid. There are people who have come out, multiple people from Wolvicki to, I think it was our brother Noriega, who talked about a door that you can go through.
Right, yeah,
Choose to go through this door, go through that door. But if you go through that door, you know what comes with that. There are a lot of people who have exposed Hollywood, and each one of them who did, you don't hear about them as much anymore unless they pivoted, and made some kind of move to remain relevant. But it's very, very valid. Hollywood used to be called Hollywood Land. And it's named after the Holly Reef. Now you have to go back into ancient Rome. You're talking about the Roman Saturnalia and the festival of orgies and sex that they used to have. And they were sun worshipers. So they would dance around and have sex with everybody. Random sex, and pushing the illusion and all that kind of stuff. So Hollywood is adopted from that mentality, that type of culture. So they brought that over here to the West. And of course, America gives Greece the credit for being the mother of Western culture, the mother of Western society. Athens, Greece. This is what America gives, say that's our mama. Okay, so everything that was over there in Greece, from the cathedrals all the way to the stadiums, to the same-sex behavior, to the animalistic sexual expressions, all of that was over there in Europe first. They brought it over here piece by piece. So to answer that question, yes, it's real. And every process to get involved in it is real. You have to compromise sexually. You have to compromise your integrity. You have to compromise your morals. You have to compromise your children, your money. You have to compromise everything. Depending on how high you want to go, you will have to give up more and more and more. It's very real. It does exist. Again, I'm from Compton.
Right.
So I'm right up the street from Hollywood. And I've seen some of these things. I've been invited to certain places as far as events and things like that. But when I get to these events, I see who is who. They don't come at me because, you belong to God. They like, all right, don't blow us up.
Because
right?
we see, we have always heard about this, secret society and just the selling your soul concept. And we just, in our heads, be like, nah, they just, that can't, there's no way that's real. Like, what I mean? And then try to, even the House Party movie, we was watching the House Party movie, and they sprinkle that in there to kind of make it seem like they making fun of it, or they just want to make light of the situation. But, these stuff, obviously, like you said, it's a real thing in society.
Yeah, they have blood sacrifices. They have blood rituals. They have a number of these things, and more of it is coming out. So now you have to separate the theory from, the actual conspiracies, the real things that are going on. A lot of theories out there where people get real crazy and they start, because the number two, you turn it sideways. I'm like, okay, hold on, bro. Hold on now. Now you're speculating. All right. I need the facts. We don't do speculation, all that, because then that's never ending. Right. But the actual facts are Hollywood sincerely makes its money through perversion, through destroying morals, through the abuse of men, women, and children. There's a lot of sex trafficking, organ trafficking, child trafficking, all up and through Hollywood. This is well known. Exploitation of men, exploitation of women. This is very, very, very well known, especially in the modeling industry, especially in fashion, especially all throughout film. The difference now is people are becoming famous independently. You don't need Hollywood no more.
Right.
That's the beauty now. We don't need it no more. To become famous, to get likes and views, to make all this money and be seen all over the world, Hollywood is no longer needed. We got cameras now. We have microphones now. We have the ability to stream and put out our own narrative and picture and image. But that's the hub of it, I would say. So you got to talk about Hollywood, but then you have to also go back to ancient Greco-Roman culture. So you need to know about ancient Greece and Rome. Once you learn about that, then you can just put it on top of Hollywood and realize, everything that was over there is eventually going to be over here, and not just in Hollywood, but all of America. So yeah, that stuff does exist. Last point I'll mention is a lot of these parties, like when you talk about Jeffrey Epstein, you talk about Ellen DeGeneres and all these different people.
Yeah, Bohemian Road?
Bohemian Grove.
Grove, there we go, yeah, okay.
I'll just let people know one thing to watch, for example, just so you can know how simple it is when they talk about it like it's like we talking right now. Like every day, everything's cool. There was an interview that Ellen DeGeneres did with Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock, who was a star of Miss Congeniality and Heat and all the movies, right?
Yeah, definitely know.
She interviewed her, right? And Ellen said, tell the people what kind of facial you get, you know, because they have different facials to make yourself look younger. She said, well, you know, it's a facial where, you know, they take the serum from, you know, she was trying to be soft with it. Ellen said it's from foreskin of Korean babies.
I saw that.
And she calls it the penis facial, where they have the foreskin that's chopped off of Korean babies' penises. I'm sorry, y'all, you got to hear the truth. And they extract from that the cells and things like that, and they inject it into the faces of these women who are going to pay for it. Now, if you can flagrantly say that, and they was laughing, talking about, ha, 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 like, whoa, did you not just, hold on, hey, did y'all not hear what the hell this woman just said? So you have, okay. So it's like, that's one piece. Then on the other side, you got to know the blood sacrifices, the blood rituals when it comes to children. The adrenochrome thing that people go into when it's a mixture of blood and adrenaline from scaring children and then siphoning their blood, that there is truth to that. There is truth to that. A lot of these secret societies.
What was that called? It was like spirit cooking. It was like,
spirit cooking. Yeah. I believe it's Brovovic or something like that is the white lady heavily in the film industry and fashion industry. This stuff is very real. Now, again, if you want to confront this evil, you know, this is when you start getting into real topics on these shows, right? Where you start talking about things really affecting the world. You can't run from it. If you want to get involved in it, you got to go all the way. But don't try to, you know, dip and dive into it. But again, this stuff is very real, bro. Right. It's a lot. Like I don't want to go too deep into it because it does exist, but you have to be willing to face it.
Right. The reason why it's hard to believe sometimes is because, like, who blatantly says you got baby, you know, on, you know what I'm saying?
Look up that interview, Sandra Bullock, Ellen DeGeneres, and type in penis facial. It's going to blow your mind.
Even the fact that, you know, people think it's UFOs out there, but they're calmly saying, oh yeah, it's true now.
It's a fact.
But it's hard to believe it because we've been saying it for so long, and now they're just agreeing with you like, oh yeah, they out there. Yeah. And then when they pop up walking on the road with you, you're like, oh shit, we did tell you. You know what I mean? So it's hard to believe stuff that you know, but it's unbelievable to hear you actually say.
We've been desensitized with so many lies, bro, to where when we hear the truth, it sounds crazy.
Right,
That can't be true. But yeah, it is true. Because they've been putting the lies in front of our face so long in the books and TV and movies and cartoons.
Movies, definitely.
And they just been doing this to where when we finally see it, now it's like, okay, hold on. So you mean to tell me this whole time it's a form of conditioning that we have to unlearn and reverse now? And
even if we record it, like right now, we can see a UFO. If I record it, people want to say, what the frick? That's fake. That can't be. Come on, bro. It's CGI. Come on, bro.
I mean, because now we got so many ways to look at it different. But, I mean, I've seen, we don't even call them UFOs. We call them wheels, how we're taught in the Nation of Islam. We know about this. Brother, you're talking about over 100 countries have already declassified the documentation, the evidence, videos, and photographs of quote-unquote UFOs long before the United States did. Now the United States last year started coming out heavily saying, yes, they do exist. Yeah, we had evidence for over 30, 40 years. Yeah, well, yeah, it's true, right? So, but the reason why America doesn't want to reveal that is because they don't want to give people any type of inkling or idea that there's a power that they can't control. They do not want you to have no thought in your head that anybody can overcome this government. And the reality is a power like that does exist.
Even I was watching Secret Invasion, is Disney Marvel show, and they have these aliens called the Creed or the Skrulls, and what they do is they're reptilian-like creatures who transform into looking like humans. You know what I mean? And I've heard plenty of stories about reptilians, these people that can transform, the aliens that can transform, that's taking the role of the higher powers in our society and controlling whether we want to. Like I said, that's a whole other we about to turn this into the Joe Rogan experience.
I'll just say I've never seen that before, the reptilian thing. Is it possible? Sure. Is it possible? Sure. But then again, hell, you have people with about 10 different personalities and they switch up and do things depending on who's in the room.
Right.
All right. So you can say that's a metaphorical version of it. But as far as the physical reptilian-like human beings, I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it. I've never experienced it. I don't go too far into the stuff that I don't know at all. Nah, I mean, the person who I believe pushed that thought or that idea long before the Bible, because if you're going biblically, then you look at the snake who whispered to Eve in the garden. Well, snakes don't talk.
Right.
All right.
You know what I mean?
So, so because now it's like, well, damn, snakes talk back then, but they don't talk now.
Right.
Isn't evolution supposed to take place, not de-evolution?
Right.
Whatever. So that's a whole nother conversation. But we are taught that, that was a person. And that's metaphorically dealing with people who we have in our lives that whisper things to us that are not right, not good, that are lies that will cause damage in our life. That's why we call them snakes. Okay, so that's another way of looking at it. But again, the reptilian stuff that David Icke, for the most part, is well known for pushing that most of Europe just couldn't stand him for pushing. Caucasian white dude has been pushing this information long before Joe Rogan was born, before Alex Jones, even. And I've been on Alex Jones' show InfoWars.
Right.
So you take the truth, and whatever else is too far, you're like, I can't touch that yet.
Right. I need more evidence.
Definitely. Definitely.
So you said in this day and age, we don't need Hollywood anymore because we got cameras and microphones. So would you say that the people who were famous before we got to this point, they definitely a part of the Illuminati?
I'd definitely say a good percentage. I wouldn't doubt that a good percentage of them are. And then you have some who you have to look at exactly what they are pushing and what they're endorsing. Look at what people are supporting. Look at what they're endorsing. Look at what they're pushing. Look at it thoroughly. Okay. For example, you're pushing that it's okay for grown men wearing dresses to dance in front of children, half naked. All right. Which celebrities are supporting that? We can look at that, right? So you can say, yep, you. Then a small percentage of them may just be ignorant, right? Some of you are ignorant for sure. We can't get rid of that. That's a fact. Some are genuinely ignorant. Okay, cool. But then a good percentage of them are helping to push the machine that benefits and that talks about that situation, or the ones who are talking about putting men in dresses. And I mean, like, really putting us in dresses and always attacking family and always promoting anything that goes toward destroying children or removing morals piece by piece. You got to look at who these people are and then ask them, who the hell do you work for? See, again, ignorance goes to a certain point. You know damn well what's going on now in 2023 when it comes to certain things we've been dealing with as people. You know what the hell's going on. So what's your excuse? Who do you work for? That's when you have to start asking that question. So yes, a good percentage of them for sure are a part of, you could say the Illuminati, you can say a part of different secret societies. A few of them are a part of it without even knowing.
Right.
That's another side of it, because it was so damn ignorant.
I know they used to say that for like black actors, especially if you wanted to make it, you had to do like a homosexual role at the beginning of your career.
The casting couch test is what they used to call it. And that was brought up by a lot of people. Eddie Murphy talked about it. Cat Williams talked about it. Whitney Houston talked about it. You had a lot of people, singers, actors, who talked about certain things that they had to go through. Tupac talked about it with Quincy Jones. It's a lot of people who came out and said, I was offered this, but this came with it. They said I had to do this. I had to get on my knees, do this. I had to bend over, do this. This is real. It's very real. Paul Mooney mentions certain things like that. There's a lot of people who brought it out. Those clips are not well circulated. All right? Definitely. But they do exist. A lot of these interviews. Will Smith talked about it years before he became blew up when he was still doing Fresh Prince and all that. He brought out certain things like he was talking about, I think, AIDS, and how he said, I believe AIDS is a government conspiracy. He said that. I believe that the interview was with Barbara Walters on 60 Minutes, I believe. That's what it was. So all this stuff is for sure, it did exist to a higher degree. But again, now, because you ain't got to go through Hollywood to get famous, you don't need to do things like that. But it definitely did exist, bro. That's a fact.